2 minutes.
Okay, so one of Lee's key pledges in his manifesto was to improve his relationship with CUSU, which as Vice President is essentially the core of my role. I want to approach meetings not just with my own ideas, because obviously it's too hard for me to think of every aspect of an issue, but a good grounding like the thoughts and opinions of what you guys think. Yeah, that'd be great. You can see the ways that I do this in my manifesto. I also would like to work on, I think there's a lot of scope within college to actually translate CUSU-wide campaigns onto a college level. I think, having students within college working with other students to actually address other students will make them more accessible and more effective. I know there's a lot of interest in things like the Living Wage campaign and in the Good Night Out campaign, but a lot of students do initiatives to reach out and use that. In terms of the Charities Commission, which is another aspect of my role, I think it'd be really helpful if there was a group of students who weren't just offering money but also offering help and advice. I know that Charlotte, for instance, ran the She Got the Field this year. That took a lot of her time, a lot of her energy. I think it would have been really helpful if there was a group of students who were there to just offer their assistance. Yeah, I think both me and Ellen are competent, hardworking and accessible. But I think that what I give is actually innovative policies. I mean, like Ellen, I thought Chris was already in motion, no, sorry, stop. The 40 Years of Women Subcommittee, work helping other students, Spell-Info, I continue with all of those things and support them a lot. But yeah, I want to make the role of Vice Pres much more relevant and helpful to students' actual lives. At the moment, me and Kit are the only people standing that have actually been on the JCR committee for a full year. And obviously, it's fantastic to have fresh, new ideas. I think it'd be really helpful to have a good grounding of people who know how things are going, what issues are actually at stake, and how things have been going so far in addressing them. I have 2 more policies, which neither of which are on my manifesto, in terms of reforming the negative image attached to JCR and in social events for JCR.
Okay, hello, I'm Ellen, a second year HSPS student, and I'm running to be Vice President as well. I truly think I could be very good at this job, largely due to the fact that I'm already Vice President of the Selden Snowball, so feel I'm completely ready to just transfer these skills. On top of this, I have previous experience as head girl of my high school, in which I worked in a similar committee environment, meaning I'm used to working with sometimes difficult members of school, college or CUSU councils. But when thinking about which role to apply for on the JCR, I considered my interest in various fields, from gender to access and welfare. However, I realised that what was really interesting me about all these roles was how they have the potential to intersect one another, such as how access and DME officers could work together, or how welfare and LGBT+ could collaborate. And it was then that I realised I was best suited to a more overarching role. In this position, I would have various opportunities to influence all these aspects of the JCR and really make a difference to all the issues I really care about. But adding to the appeal of Vice President was also the fact that this is a really big, important year for the JCR committee. Most specifically, I'll be responsible for holding an affiliation campaign between college and CUSU. I think it's imperative that everyone is really well informed about what vote they make. And they do actually discuss some mildly interesting things. On Monday they discussed the keeping the streetlights on and making Cambridge a zero carbon city, and it would really help if I had student opinion on that before I voted on it, because I don't want to just make it my decision. So I would really try and speak face to face to everyone, Facebook, emails. I'm literally always on my phone. So yeah. And also I've already been to meetings already, so I think I'm running in that respect. But it's easy enough for me to stand here and claim that I'm organised, efficient, but I've actually demonstrated this by organising the launch event for the Snowball, as well as a massive part of the actual Snowball, which is in 5 days. Organised a hockey formal and an HSPS formal all in the last week. As you can tell, I'm more than willing to commit a lot of time to anything other than writing essays each week, and so can ensure that I would be completely dedicated to this role.
So we'll take up to 3 questions. You want to kick us off?
Yeah, so I made quite clear that I'm a little bit sceptical of the role of CUSU. And for those of you who don't know, at the end of this year, in Michaelmas next year, we have to vote whether to re-affiliate with CUSU, which is the Cambridge-wide student body, or disaffiliate. So if that vote was tomorrow, what side would you urge me to take and why?
Shall we start with please? Obviously I don't know everything that I'm going to know after a couple of months of having been Vice Pres, which is important. I actually tend towards affiliation. I think there's a lot of stuff we do get from QSU, things like the training for officers. I don't really understand how you expect welfare to be fully equipped to deal with like drug-related problems with mental health without the kind of training they get. Same with environmental. That you get connections in those training sessions with other JCR. Like, we spend so much time on the JCR talking about what other colleges are doing, and it's really, really hard to effectively replicate that without being part of QSU. And more importantly, for me anyway, like, if we're going to fight government and we're going to fight the university on big political issues, which is true, when me and Ellen went to the meeting, we were talking about divestment from fossil fuels. Like, you need that united front. You need students acting as one body, which you just don't get and every time a college like disaffiliates, it deepens that. So I think it is important that we stick together. And I think, but obviously, like, I would be ruthless in my dealings with QSU. We wouldn't be holding this vote from the position we are now. We'd be holding the vote after Marine to squeeze every single aspect we could out of QSU. But like, I do tend to think that on the whole it's better. Sorry, that's quite long.
I probably disagree with that in the sense that I don't think QSU has the reputation it has for no reason. In like a poll a couple of years ago, it was voted like 118th worst student union out of 127 in the UK, and it's not the worst, yeah. And then the NCR of Selwyn also voted to disaffiliate with an 88% majority. So I really don't think we should be ignoring things like that. I don't think it's going to get that reputation if it's actually really good and just no one realises. So currently, I would be quite strongly thinking, yeah, we should disaffiliate, because over the past year, we have given them a lot of chances, and I have every faith that the past JCR committee has obviously been actively engaging with them, and if they're not engaging with you, there's nothing you can do. But at the same time, the same as Ruth, like, I would be more willing to I'm obviously willing to try, like, to see how good they are. I know Priscilla's pretty on it, her emails are very efficient, like, so I feel like I'm better placed to answer this once I've been to a few QSU meetings. But at the same time, the one we went to on Monday, like, it would just seem really informal, like a bunch of people sat in this, like, dodgy wee room, just kind of like shouting things, and like, it's not what you would assume Cambridge University student unions would be. And I think Cambridge works really well because it is a collegiate uni. So I would probably say disaffiliate today. But, yeah.
Okay. Thanks, Josh.
Yeah, hi. You're both like super busy doing a million different things in college and outside and everything, which on the one hand shows, you know, why you'd be capable of this job and how you can balance stuff and everything. On the other, it means you're going to take up this very busy job while you're busy doing a ton of other things. How are you going to balance that? How does it work?
Well, me personally, one of the main things which is taking up my time right now is Vice President Snowball, but that'll be done as of Saturday 12:30 PM. So I will have, like, I can effectively just replace the time I spent on that next year, and I've managed perfectly fine, like, to keep up my degree and like some form of social life by doing that as well. So for me, it would literally just be a case of like replacing being vice president one thing with being vice president something else. So I don't really see it as being too much of an issue. And also, my main form of procrastination is sending emails, so that wouldn't be an issue either. I think it'd be fine.
I don't reckon I am that busy. I mean,
Well, I'm vice president as well.
yeah. Like, I do take on a lot of stuff. A lot of them don't take up that much time. I don't work particularly hard, so a lot of time not doing my degree. And actually, the big extracurricular taking up my time at the moment is acting as set design for the TED Talks conference, which I'll come to free. And that is over as of February 13th, and that will be a huge chunk. Like, if I don't take on the role of vice president, I am going to be looking at like what other extracurriculars I can do, which is going to take a long time. So I don't just like even go from my dad. So yeah.
Any questions? Good one.
Obviously the reaffiliation vote happened 2 years ago, and I think won by one vote, I think it was. And QSU at the time said that they were going to actively improve the way they engage with us. And what's actually happened is they're really good at engaging in their own campaigns and pushing their own campaigns, but they're terrible at pushing what we do. And the reason Corpus disaffiliated was because they didn't get on a welfare issue that Corpus had. How would you push to get QSU to engage with us more, support us in our campaigns within college?
I think it is quite hard, and I think there's more they could do, but to the best of my knowledge, they're quite hard to get they're quite hard to get to if you try them over email or on the phone because they take so long, which is what most people who are trying to get CUSO do. If you actually go to them in person, they are actually a lot better at responding to you. And I think building a better relationship, I was talking to my class about inviting down people from campaigns and QC to T-Shop, to make T-Shop more of a JCR thing, and not just like hangout thing. So I'll be like, this time we've got someone from this campaign or this officer to answer questions, which I know they're keen to do. So if you can work on like improving those relationships, and as well when they're here, like we can have people coming up and be like, so our college has this issue, what's the best way to deal with it? I think that's quite good, but mainly doing in person, because you do get a response to you in person and you don't need to do nothing.
Well, I would probably say going to them with some sort of pre-made solution, because it makes it really difficult for them to say, well, no, because if you go to them, this is the problem, this is how we want to fix it, this is how much money it's going to cost, this is who's going to do what. It's then on them to just kind of reject it with no reason behind it. I think a lot of the time they reject things is maybe sort of they're like, oh, we don't know how much that'll cost, and like, who's going to do that? If you go to them with your full plan, you just need their backing, you just need their funds, they should be more willing to help you out with it. Like, same with the motions that were passed in the meeting on Monday were ones that people had specifically said where the money was going and like what they were doing with all of it, because that's one of the main questions people always ask, is like, well, yeah, but what are you going to do with all the funds? And at the same time, yeah, just like hounding people with emails on the phone and going up to them in person. And getting like student support as well. It's like every single student of Selwyn College thinks we should do this, and this is how we're going to tackle it, we just need your support, is an easier way of doing it, I think.
Alright then, thank you very much.